Ever since the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake on Nintendo Switch 2, there's a part of me that believes there's going to be a renaissance period in Nintendo's long history with video games, even more so than the NES or Super NES days, and even more so than the era of Nintendo Switch. In fact, I've never seen this strong of a third-party presence at all for Nintendo. Normally, this is reserved for the PlayStation since the PlayStation 1 days. But despite the soon-to-be higher price point of the Switch 2 and competition, it's amazing that it's getting a lot of love related to third parties. But recently, Nintendo has released a new direct related to the Partner Showcase. And while it's just a small taste of things to come, it's still showing a sign about the presence of third parties on the Switch 2. And it makes me wonder what's the point of the PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series system if the Switch 2 or even the PC is going to have the same games. Then again, you're also talking to someone who is slowly phasing out of video games because of this. Yeah, way to go, Nintendo. So in a way, it's a double-edged sword in more ways than one. But I digress. Let's go ahead and talk about this. First up, I want to get this out of the way because I saw this coming a mile away. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been confirmed for the Switch 2 and it will release on June 3rd of this year, much earlier than I expected. Following the departure from Midgar, Cloud Strife and his companions explore a huge world, continuing their hunt for the soldier-turned-extremist, Sephiroth. Much like with Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, Rebirth will feature a streamlined progression feature. Perfect for those who are new to the game or for anyone who wants to speedrun this title in preparation for the final chapter in the trilogy. After all, if the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy can make the jump to the Switch 2, I wonder what other games will do so as well. The second thing I want to get out of the way is yet another game compilation, this time courtesy of Konami, the Super Bomberman Collection. Out now across the Switch and Switch 2, this game is a compilation of all the Bomberman games from the Super NES, including some that have never been released in North America before. This also includes 2 games from the NES era, plus a boss rush mode, game share, and various other features. A physical version will release sometime in late August. If this collection is possible, then I can imagine what would happen if Konami released the other Bomberman games, like the famous Saturn Bomberman game and the N64 Bomberman games, which all fetch a hefty price on eBay. And while we were looking at the Nintendo Direct this morning, Konami slipped something under the radar that caught us off guard: the Ganbare Goemon Daishugo collection. While this is a Japanese-only game, a physical version of this set will release on July 2nd, and it will contain the Ganbare Goemon games from the Famicom, Super Famicom, and Game Boy. If you're curious, you can import the games from sites that sell Japanese imports, especially either PlayAsia or Video Games Plus, should they be made available to import. I want this game to do so well so that we can see other Goemon games on the Switch or Switch 2, which will include one N64 game that we North Americans refer to as Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. There were a few other games that caught my attention and not enough willpower to cover them all. One of which is Iron Gate Studios' open-world survivor/sandbox title that involves Vikings, Valheim. Due out later this year, this game is exactly what I told you what this game was about. You can explore this whole land by yourself or invite up to 9 online friends to join you on this massive quest, almost similar to Hello Games' No Man's Sky. Fun fact, this game was previously released on the Xbox, Windows, Linux, and Mac, and has not even received a PlayStation 5 release. Though with the recent announcements, it's already happening as well. From the creative team behind the Octopath Traveler's video games comes The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. Due out on the Switch 2 on June 18th, you play the role of an adventurer named, well, did you expect him to be named Bob? Anyway, you travel through various points of time on the map throughout the continent of Philipeldia. Unlike with the Octopath games, you fight in real-time combat utilizing a variety of weapons and abilities. A second player can also control Elliot's fairy companion, Faye. As much as I enjoy seeing the original output from Team Asano, I wouldn't mind if they could remake an older game and give it an upgrade. maybe Chrono Trigger should get that makeover. What do you guys think? Even though the Switch 2 is the digivolution of the original Switch, that old system is still going to get some love alongside its champion form, with an all-new Digimon game, Digimon Story Time Stranger, originally released on the PlayStation and Xbox systems last year and coming out on the Switch and Switch 2 on July 10th, 2026. As an agent of Organization Adamas, you are sent back in time to discover the events that resulted in the Shinjuku Inferno. It will take a travel between this world and the digital world to save the future. By the way, if you're looking for the physical version, stick with the Switch 1 cards, as it will offer you a free upgrade to the Switch 2 edition. Besides, the Switch 2 card is a game key card. Hamster Corporation's arcade archives are now evolving from coin-operated video games to consoles of the past, and the first games that demonstrate this new feature are out now. The first one is a port of the NES classic Ninja Gaiden 2: The Dark Sword of Chaos, which introduces new villain Ashtar to Ryo Hayabusa. The second one is a PlayStation 1 title I didn't expect: Cool Borders! Yeah, it's different from 1080 snowboarding, and that's on the NSO if you want to check that out. But it's still a nice addition that's more than welcomed into the Nintendo Switch library. While Capcom has had its fair share of games to list for the showcase, one of which is rather obvious to its fanbase: Resident Evil Requiem, the newest chapter in the Resident Evil franchise, due out later this month. In addition to newcomer Grace Ashcroft, who really has to avoid the monsters haunting her, fan favorite Leon Kennedy returns in his own chapters, focused more on action and combat. You can also choose between third-person and first-person views. In a way, this marks the first time a game will release across the board in one day, though I was hoping more for Onimusha Way of the Sword. That's a far more interesting game if I say so myself. Bethesda Studios caught us all off guard in the final part of the Direct. Two of their most iconic games are coming to Nintendo Switch 2. The first one is Fallout 4, due out later this month on the 24th as the true debut of this franchise on a Nintendo system. You explore the remains of the New England area, including Boston, Massachusetts, as a surviving vault dweller. Your decisions reshape the New England wasteland. In addition to the base game, all 6 DLC and a number of Creation Club items will also be made available. Though that being said, why this game is a code in a box and not a complete on-a-cart release is beyond me. The other iconic game, the remaster of The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Due out later this year, you will explore the providence of Cyrodiil and embark on your own journey. Like the previous releases on the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, the remaster will also include the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine DLC, plus additional add-ons, like that infamous horse armor. Though, judging by the massive file size of this game, you're going to need a bigger SD card. And I do mean it. Because much like with Fallout 4, this game will be a code in the box. But the surprise that caught me off guard, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, courtesy of Machine Games. Due out on May 12th and set during the original Indiana Jones trilogy, you play as Indy as you explore various lands, from the Vatican City to the Himalayan mountains, stopping a prophecy involving a power connected to the Great Circle. But that's what didn't really catch me off guard. What really, and I mean really caught me off guard, was the fact that this game will be complete on the carts on day one. I don't know if this will include the DLC, but it's a nice choice for those who enjoy collecting Switch 2 cards, and I hope other companies will take notice. I think the reason why I haven't talked much about other third-party games discussed in this Direct, as I said, it's too overwhelming to talk about, and even I can lose track of what's coming to the Switch or the Switch 2. Maybe this is why I want to bow out of video games when the Switch 2 does come to an end. But hey, only time will tell if I do so or if I will continue to my last breath. What third-party games do you want to see on the Switch 2 or even the Switch? What about indie games? Feel free to reply in the comments. Until then, I'm switching on out of here.